2020 has been a very interesting year, a year that most people will not forget, mostly because of the pandemic. The mask mandates, the lockdowns, the bars, the restaurants, the nightclubs that were closed, some of them for good. Disneyland was closed, Disney World was open, the debate still goes on. But something else happened in 2020. The U.S. Census still occurred, and there's some interesting data that has just been released about the state of Utah. So on this video, I'm going to go over some of that latest data that they have released. Like, what has the growth been like over the last 10-year period? Are smaller towns getting bigger? Are bigger towns getting smaller? What cities had some of the largest growth? And much, much more. So let's get after it right now. And I'm Mike Gallagher. Welcome to the Living in Utah channel. If this is your first time to my channel and you want to learn everything about the state of Utah, you may consider tapping that subscribe button down below and hitting that bell notification, and you will receive an alert when I release a new video. We absolutely love making these videos. We also love helping people buy or sell real estate in Utah. So if I can be of assistance, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. We got your back with Utah Real Estate. The census of 2020 was like no other. Of course, the whole year of 2020 was very, very different for everyone around the country, actually around the world. The pandemic played its part with the census. Door knocking was a challenge in many parts of the country. There weren't as many people going out there, door knocking, getting the census filled out. Some were afraid of catching the virus, giving the virus to someone else, the lockdowns that were in place. But in the end, the census did get completed. And we are now starting to see some of the data that is being released about the state of Utah. So with the new data in hand, one of the key things I took from the census is that Utah has had steady growth over a 10-year period. Not just like 1 or 2 years, it's been consistent over the whole 10-year period. And I notice it everywhere I travel. New residential, new commercial. My neck actually gets sore trying to look around at new buildings and new developments that have come online that I did not notice the last time I was in that neighborhood. Sometimes it might be 6 or 8 months before I get to a neighborhood, and it can totally change. There's new Maverick gas stations, new 7-Elevens, new apartment buildings, new townhomes, new home construction. Roundabouts have been put in some cities. So to be exact, Utah's population is now at 3.27 million residents. It has increased over 508,000 residents over the 10-year period, which equates to approximately 50,000 new residents per year. And boy, am I noticing it. It's also a drain on the housing industry too. There are some cities that have had some issues with water, and they've had to stop all new construction. There's actually a city that I know of that has had problems with the sewer system. It has backed up because of all the new construction, and they had to put a halt on new construction until they could tear up the roads and put in bigger sewer systems to handle the growth. So if we want to put a percentage number on this growth, it would be 18.4% increase since 2010. It is the highest percentage increase in the nation. Now there's a couple states that are very close behind that are chomping at that 18% mark also. That would be Idaho, Texas, and North Dakota. They are seeing similar increases, similar growth in their state. But it's not only the 10-year period. We had a large increase from the year 2000 to 2010. Wasn't as high as 18.4%, but we saw some large growth. So this has happened for approximately 20 years, this growth. As far as 2021 goes, I see the increase continuing, especially with the pandemic. Some companies are allowing their workers to work remotely so they can live wherever they would like to in the United States. I'm also getting a couple phone calls from people who reside in another country that have the same opportunity, and some of them are choosing to live in the United States. So with all the growth that's gone on and the increase in population in Utah, we are still a small state, especially when you compare us to some other states like California and Texas. California has roughly 40 million residents. Texas has roughly 30 million residents and growing. So with Utah's population of just over 3 million residents, we're like 1/10 the size of these large states. Even if we added another 500,000 residents over, say, the next 10-year period, we would still be approximately 1/10 the size of these two large states. So with the census, we also found out we have some greater diversity. More than 1 in 5 Utahns is a racial or ethnic minority. Now, I get this question all the time, so it's great to have some of this information. And hopefully with more information coming out from the census, we will get a deeper dive into some of these numbers. They also reported that 1 in 4 Utahns are younger than the age of 18 years old. We also found out what is the largest ethnic minority, and that would be the Hispanic residents with 460,000, which is about 14% of Utah's population. We also learned that Utahns of Asian heritage are the fastest growing racial and ethnic minority. Many are relocating to Utah to attend university, or some are coming here to put their talents to work, such as in the tech industry, the biomedical industry, and many, many more industries. We're also learning from the census that small towns are getting bigger. And I'm noticing it myself all over the area. And there's a couple reasons that I feel they are getting a little bit bigger. Some people would like to move out of the bigger cities like Salt Lake City and Provo and Ogden into some smaller neighborhoods just surrounding those cities. Also, developers have been building in the smaller cities more so probably than in the larger cities. There's just more available land to put townhomes and homes and commercial property, etc. So one example I have for you is a city called Vineyard. It's the former home of Geneva Steel. They had a large operation going at one time in this city. Well, over the last decade, the city has grown from approximately 140 residents up to 12,000 residents today. We also have areas like St. George, Utah, which has grown very fast, very, very fast, almost like a wildfire. Some of the people that are moving here, in large part, are retirees or outdoor enthusiasts or individuals who want to work in the tourism industry. We're also learning that we are getting a little bit older. For many years, Utah has been one of the youngest states in the nation, but we're getting a little bit older. In 2010, we averaged about 29.2 years old. Now we are at 30.8 years old, just a slight uptick. So the top 10 cities for population, well, when we look at the list, most of the cities that were in the top 10 in 2010 are still in the list for 2020. There were some shifts, a little bit of juggling around. As far as the most populated city in the state of Utah, that is still Salt Lake City. It received a 7% increase during the 10-year period, which equates to 13,000 residents. Salt Lake City's population is now approximately 199,000 residents. So the second most populated city that we have in Utah is West Valley City. Coming in third on the list, a little bit of a change, would be West Jordan, Utah, which grew to 116,000 residents. It has surpassed Provo, Utah for the third spot. So next on the list would be Provo, Utah. They are not far behind West Jordan. They have 115,000 residents, about 1,000 less than West Jordan. What I noticed unique on the list was that Orem, Utah has gained more new residents than Provo, Utah during this 10-year period. So some other changes that I noticed on the list. St. George, Utah, down south, has surpassed Ogden, Utah for residents. They gained 22,445 new residents during this 10-year period. Ogden only gained 4,500 new residents. Also, the Census Bureau is listing St. George Metro, the whole area, as the third fastest growing metro in the United States. So I also noticed some impressive growth with a city called South Jordan, Utah, located right next to Salt Lake City. They gained 27,069 residents, which is a 54% increase during this 10-year period. Some enormous growth. Also, in an area that I refer to as Utah County, just south of the Salt Lake City area, there's a city called Lehi, Utah. They gained 28,500 new residents. And a city called Harriman, Utah, they gained 33,359 new residents. So in conclusion, that is some of the latest data that has been released from the 2020 U.S. Census pertaining to the state of Utah. As more data is released, I will make sure to inform you. If you do have any kind of questions about the state of Utah, by all means, reach out to me. Glad to assist you in any way that I can. Until the next video, take care and stay safe.